From the campus of Georgetown University in Washington, D.C., we welcome you to our live coverage of the Epoch Lacrosse Spring Classic on the Hill 2014, presented by LacrossePlayground.com. Later on, around 1:30, we'll get to see St. Stephen's and St. Agnes take on Flint Hill. And right now, it's DeMatha from the Washington Catholic Athletic Conference playing St. Andrew's Episcopal. They're from the Mid-Atlantic Athletic Conference. So glad you could join us here on the Saturday afternoon as we bring you our Prodigy Launch broadcast of today's two games. I'm Stu Johnson, and I'll bring you the play-by-play for both our contests today. Our first matchup today features one of the best teams in the country so far this year, the 11-0 DeMatha Stags. Scott Morrison's team has 8 seniors heading off to play Division I lacrosse next year, and their experience and poise have been on full display so far this year. They've outscored their opponents 123-42, and they get going right away here by controlling the faceoff, but a violation called, so ball will be going the other way with the St. Andrews Episcopal Lions. They come in at 3-4. DeMatha, as I said, 11-0, and quickly force a turnover and get out in transition. That's Gavin Lavitt taking it down the field for the Stags, one of the faster players on this team. Takes it to the offensive end, flips up top for Matt Brizzolari behind. We'll get you the starting lineups for these two teams at the next stoppage in play, and that shot a little bit too high from Tyler Nigerian and backed up by the Stags. It's a team built to win now that Scott Morrison has this year, trying to bring the program its first conference title since 2009, and they are off to a terrific start. Although that pass is a little bit too high, sails over the stick of Grayson Terrain, rolls towards the sideline. DeMatha will maintain possession. On the other side, you've got St. Andrews trying to build up its program under second-year head coach Bobby Horsey, who was a standout collegiate player at Loyola, played professionally for several seasons in the MLL as well as the Indoor National Lacrosse League. They played a tougher schedule this year in Horsey's second year, and they certainly got a challenge on their hands today. That pass from Nigerian knocked away and a turnover as St. Andrews going the other way. That's Alex Smith taking it into the offensive end for St. Andrews Episcopal, who have won their last 2 games after dropping 4 straight. Now got their record at 3-4. And they're attacking the goal to the right on your screen today. That's Ethan Lockshin with it behind the cage, one of the senior captains for this squad. And once again, more problems controlling the ball. It's been a staple early. Not a lot of shots so far, plenty of turnovers, but a transition opportunity for DeMatha now. Shot down low, and a shot is handled nicely by Aiden Herdishi. And now a chance to clear for the Lions, which has been a bugaboo this year, and it quickly turns into another turnover. And now another transition chance for DeMatha. That's Brizzolari feeding to his left for Thompson. Thompson gets it to the doorstep and a finish inside for Dylan Stein. And it's a 1-0 lead for DeMatha a little bit more than 2 minutes into this one. So Dylan Stein finishing at the doorstep on the assist from Brady Thompson, and an aggressive ride gets DeMatha on the board first. So 1-0 your score here as DeMatha looks to build. Second face-off of the game. They had a violation on the first one. Ball still in a bit of a scrum, and DeMatha comes away with it. As you saw the pole there, Colin Kasner coming up with it. He'll start in the defensive end, or actually he'll be on the wing here in the face-off. The starting defenders, you'll get a look at Johnny Surdick, who just had it. Bane Schroeder will play as well. Should see some James Jennings out there as well, and it's a very good, experienced defensive unit for the Stags. In goal, they've rotated a couple goalies this year. They've used both Nick Ramsey and Brad Peters, both of them seniors, both of them playing Division I next year. And it's Brad Peters getting the start in this game today, as DeMatha has it in the offensive end right now. Get a look at Thompson, who had it. He's going to let one go from the wing, down low, and he's denied. That one, Karam's back out of play, right at him. And he'll have it on the restart. Inside 9 minutes to go in the first quarter, and we get our first break in the action. 8:57 to go, 1-0 DeMatha leads St. Andrews. And we're getting a timeout down here on the field. While we have a minute, we'll take a second to acknowledge our broadcast partner, Prodigy Lacrosse. You see their logo in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen as you watch today, and certainly appreciate their support, making it possible to bring this game to you guys, and we'll have more on them later in this broadcast. And, of course, in our second game today, which we touched on at the top, that'll feature St. Stephen's, St. Agnes, and Flint Hill. That game should get underway around 1:30. Right here it's 1-0. The DeMatha Stags in front of St. Andrews. Goal for Dylan Stein opened the scoring on an assist from Brady Thompson. Set to get action resumed here. DeMatha hasn't played too many competitive games this year, really only 2. They overcame a 4-0 deficit against Bullis back in March, won that game 8-6. That game came down to energy, Coach Morrison said. His team responded in the second half. They started winning face-offs. They moved James Jennings to the wing, and they started getting possessions, and they came back and won 8-6. They also won a somewhat close game against LaSalle a couple weeks ago. 2 weeks ago, they won that one 5-2 in a game where LaSalle really slowed the pace down. Played some keep away. Forced a low-scoring game, but both times DeMatha able to handle it and come away victorious. Matt Brissolari with it. He's playing at Providence next year. Tyler Naharian, now it's back to Brissolari. Feeds inside, turn and a shot up top and a goal. That's Sean Doyle getting on the board for DeMatha to put him up 2-0 here in the first quarter. So Matt Brissolari sets up Sean Doyle. DeMatha up 2-0. And that's something you'll see plenty of from Brissolari. He takes the most shots on the team, but he's also second in assists. He's been pretty good at feeding the guys inside, and he did so there to give the Stags an early 2-0 lead. Another face-off won by Evan Skinner, who will see some time in the second midfield, but he'll also take a lot of face-offs. Though Coach Morrison says he's not a Fogo. He's a guy who's going to get a lot of time in the midfield. He's won about 60% of his draws so far this season. That's just really all you need to do when you've got as strong and experienced a team as DeMatha has this year. Falling down over there on the far side is Brissolari, but he gets up and lobs across field for Grayson Terrain, the senior heading to Navy next year with electric footwork. Flips over to Thompson, fires a long shot, and the save made down low by Herdishi. And St. Andrews will have it, trying to get into the offensive end, and here comes Alex Smith. We have a player knocked to the ground right around the middle of the field, and a whistle and the ball going back the other way. Here comes Thompson, trying to go coast to coast. Pushed back below goal line, extended. Up top for Doyle, and he fires. And it's 3-0 DeMatha. That's another goal for Doyle. Scores on back-to-back shots. That one from just outside of 10, as you see it on the replay. Thompson notches his second assist. And it's 3-0. 7:19 to go in the first quarter of play. And here comes Gavin Lavitt. And so you get a look at his speed as he races down the side of the field. His pass skips past its intended target. That was C.J. Croxton, but Nigerian there to scoop it up. And DeMatha with it behind now as Dylan Stein takes it back up top. It's Mitchell Howell playing the ball in the left hand. As some pressure applied here by St. Andrews. Nigerian gets it up top. That's going to be Howell. Thought about the shot, passed it up. He's hounded by the defenders. Here comes Brannon. Gets it off to his right for Kaler, and he tries a shot, and Herdeshy up for the challenge. Well, that's been the story this year for St. Andrews. Aiden Herdeshy, a fourth-year starter in goal. He's done a pretty nice job, all things considered, but he's got an inexperienced team in front of him, and Bobby Horsey's saying he's really come a long way. He's a guy who faces a lot of shots and averages just around 10 saves a game as the DeMatha Stags get whistled for, I believe that was a push, as St. Andrews was trying to clear. And it'll be a man up for 30 seconds here for St. Andrews. Got that push on Ricky Kaler, the sophomore midfielder for the Stags. So now a chance for St. Andrews to get on the board. 6 minutes to go in the first quarter. They trail 3-0. Get a look at their offense moving the ball around right now. It's Keenan Shepard in the first midfield. That's Smith. Tries a shot, and a save made right about shoulder height by Brad Peters. And it'll be Lavitt trying to clear, runs right over and a riding attackman for the Lions, and he'll take it towards the offensive end. Told that it's a 50-50 split on the Stags roster. Who's faster, Grayson Terrain and number 4 who just had it, or Gavin Lavitt who cleared in the offensive end. Both have tremendous speed, and right in front and an easy goal that time for Tyler Nigerian. Now St. Andrews unable to set up their defense, and Nigerian finishes right in front of the cage. 4-0 in favor of the Stags. Sean Doyle notches the assist. 3 points so far today for him, and we've still got 5:18 to go in the first quarter. Couple goals. And now he's added a helper as well, as Skinner wins the draw pretty cleanly and takes it into the offensive end. So far more of the same for a very strong DeMatha team. That's Skinner, who won the faceoff, posting up inside, falls backwards into the crease, tries a shot. Herdeshy's there for it. He fell into the crease as well. And Herdeshy and his teammates will try to clear. Will Hughes, the sophomore, cross-field pass. As that stick knocked right out of the hands of Ethan Lockchin, I think that was. And getting it right back is DeMatha. It's going to be a little tough to see the St. Andrews numbers today. They've got the black jersey, the black helmets, and the dark red outline around the numbers. Do our best to get those to you. Keenan Shepard defending up top. And right now it's DeMatha with it behind. Circling around is Howell. Top of the box, it's Zach Brannon down the right side. Brannon slips it behind. DeMatha taking good possessions after they turned it over a couple times earlier in the game, and turning the corner and going up top is Howell to make it a 5-0 game. Get another look at that one coming up here. Let's take a look at the replay, and it's Howell basically doing that all himself. An unassisted goal. He's camped out behind, uses a roll to get back towards the crease, and from there just goes into the top corner to put his Stags up 5-0 with 3:54 to go in the first. And Skinner right back out to take another face-off for DeMatha. This time he does not come away with it cleanly. Now he's calling me call for a violation as he tried to pin down St. Andrews face-off specialist. And the ball with Will Duvall now. Duvall will often quarterback from behind, runs down the right side, and gives that one up behind. Chance now for St. Andrews. They get inside, but Trail Check knocked the ball out of the stick of the attackman there. That's Smith for Duvall. Down the left side, tries a bounce shot. They'll keep possession behind. Smith stops, being defended that time by Taylor. Shot comes in, knocked aside by Peters. Ball caroms towards the sideline, and it's scooped up by Johnny Surdick, the 6'3" senior defender for the Stags, who's playing at West Point next year. And another transition chance as Skinner gets it upfield for Taylor. Taylor gets in, left-handed shot, and he bounces it home. 6-0 DeMatha. So Taylor getting on the board. Couples for Doyle, one for Stein. Nigerian's got one, Howell's got one, and now Taylor has scored as well. And it's 6-0, 2:40 to go in the first. Face-offs, like everything else, have gone DeMatha's way so far, and after momentarily failing to locate the ball, Mac Meehan is able to come down with it. And another offensive possession upcoming for DeMatha, who should play a pretty big roster today, especially with their comfortable 6-goal lead already here in the first quarter of play. Now you still have a number of starters out there on attack. It's Nigerian who's one of those. Nice pass inside, but unable to collect it before trying the shot is Brannon. It's loose in front of the crease. Herdishy's trying to get to it. Now it kicks out behind. Herdishy able to scoop it up in the crease with help from one of his defenders. Looked like that was Andrew Bubis who helped him out, but they can't clear, and he's able to make a save on a shot up top from Stein, but DeMatha still keeps possession. And another failed clear almost proved an immediate goal for DeMatha, but Herdishy reading the hands of Stein, able to go up top and make the save. Defender falls down. Nigerian time and room and sticks it from 9. Brannon sets up Nigerian, and it's 7-0. Well, so far, more of the same from DeMatha. St. Andrews came in having won their last 2 games and having won comfortably, but playing much stiffer competition today. And with 1:22 to go in the first quarter of play, DeMatha has put up 7 straight to open the scoring. And that ground ball scooped up by Zach Taylor. And Taylor gets it to Nigerian, who'll run it in the offensive end. Minute to go now. We're in the first quarter of play. DeMatha all over St. Andrews so far. Stein with it, goal line extended, behind for Nigerian. Nigerian, goal line extended, turns back behind the cage, and flips to his teammate Matt Brissolari, who sees most of his time on attack. Nice pass to Stein, who finishes with a bounce shot. And it's 8-0 with 35 seconds to go in the first. Look at that pretty feed. You'll get a look at it coming up in just a second here. Let's get a look at the replay. Turning the corner, left-hand pass cross crease, and Stein able to get there and beat Herdishy down low. Second assist for Laurie. Second goal for Stein. Those two working together there as Skinner gets into the offensive end. 25 seconds to go in the first quarter, and it's 8-zip to DeMatha. See if they can add one more tally at least before we hit our first break. Zach Brannon to his right for Brissolari. 7 seconds to go. Crossfield Nigerian is going to let it rip from 14, and he scores. Tyler Nigerian showing some range. He's already in double digits in goals this year, and he notches another one, his third of the first quarter. And it's 9-0 DeMatha with 4 ticks to go in the initial quarter of play here at Georgetown. And that is some serious range on that shot. Well, I think Coach Morrison, in a lot of cases, wants to see his team pass the ball around, use their dodging from their midfield. Today he's playing a lot of guys he's resting some guys who normally play a lot in his midfield, sensing a comfortable lead. And that time Nigerian taking a shot, especially with only 4 seconds left, that he can certainly live with, and he buried it as Skinner tries one last shot before the end of the quarter after winning the face-off, and Prodigy's able to make that save. But it's 9-0. DeMatha out in front at the end of one. They are leading St. Andrews Episcopal.
At the Academic Aces, what we're trying to do is narrow the recruiting field to reward the players and coaches that strive for a high academic excellence. The players have worked incredibly hard to get the right grades, GPA, SAT scores, etc. And for coaches that spend the bulk of their summers looking at players that they have no idea whether they can recruit, we want to make sure that our event ensures that both parties are a compatible match.
I'm Drew Bizik from Hamilton College, down here at the Academic Aces tournament. The weather's been great, and the play's been outstanding so far.
Here at Trilogy Academic Aces, and it's going really well. Lots of talent here, and lots of smart kids.
You know, there's tons of talent here from a coach's perspective, which is great. Kids that are qualified academically, as well as talent on the field.
Academic Aces is going smooth so far. A lot of good players. Excited to see what the rest of the week holds out.
I've been really impressed with Academic Aces. It's been a ton of fun. I've been pushed to my limits. All the coaches are amazing, and the level of competition is really high.
It's a tough challenge these days to find the right opportunities for your kid. There's so many choices among camps, and this has been a really great opportunity for him to meet and learn about the recruiting process.
Welcome you back to Georgetown University, site of this year's Epoch Lacrosse Spring Classic on the Hill 2014, presented by LaxPlayground.com. It's 9-0. DeMatha leads St. Andrews as we start the second quarter of play, and another face-off win for the Stags, who have dominated in pretty much every aspect. They were man down for 30 seconds, handled that challenge easily, and have been scoring plenty of goals through the first 12 minutes plus of this one. See some of the starting midfielders back out there for DeMatha. Grayson Terrain is on the right side of your screen. Sean Doyle with it now, and Grayson Terrain, a guy who won the WCAC championship playing football in the secondary this year for DeMatha. And there's a good look, and going low to high is Brady Thompson from the wing. And it's a 10 spot. DeMatha up 10-zip, and we're not even a minute into the second quarter. That's a nice-looking shot. Going upper 90 that time. Make it 10-zip. That's another point for Thompson. He's assisted 2 already. Matt Brissolari gets the assist, who's his third assist already today. And more chances now as Skinner comes away with another faceoff. Go behind for Chris Myers, getting some time on attack. It's Tremaine over for Thompson. Thompson has a lot of assists normally, but now tallied a goal as well on the last possession. And he's got another look there. Takes the shot. Deflected. But possession maintained as Myers comes in to scoop it up. Here's Terrain. Deeks to his left. Spins through two. Tries a left-handed shot. And that one is wide. Backed up by the Stags. Terrain's can shoot pretty well with either hand. It's good speed. Knows how to separate. That scrum in front. Herdishy trying to control it. Kicks out behind the crease now. And Myers will track it down. But the official on the near side blows his whistle and hands possession back to St. Andrews. See if they can clear the ball a little bit better in this quarter than they did in the first. They had a tough time keeping possession, and not to be as Terrain knocks that away. Pass goes upfield, bounce shot down low, goal for Michael Bigelow. And another fail clear turns into another goal. And DeMatha now up by an 11-0 count. Take one more look at this fail clear. Looked like that was Sean Doyle picking it up and assisting to Bigelow. 9:51 to go in the second quarter, and it is 11-0. Zach Taylor comes away with that ground ball. And that's Bigelow on the far side. On DeMatha, you can see their size. They physically are a larger team, and they also have tremendous team speed, and that's been something that they've placed a great emphasis on this year. A team that really stressed conditioning in the offseason and the preseason on both sides of the ball. They want their defense to be quick, and they certainly need their midfielders to be so as well. And another finish inside. That time it's Bigelow again. Back-to-back goals for him. He finishes at the doorstep, and it is 12-0. Another look at that one. Watch as Bigelow, in the middle of your screen, cuts inside. Defender caught ball watching, and he finishes, and Bristolari with another assist. That's 4 already for him. So I'll have to play at Providence next year. As St. Andrews notches a face-off win. Bouncing a shot and missing it just wide is Keenan Shepard. That'll be backed up by Ethan Lockshin, who will have it on the restart. That was Huber getting it in front. Alex Smith down the right side. Double team comes and feeds it off behind. Smith's one of the guys who's really had a good start to this season. He's only a freshman for Bobby Horsey, but he's got the potential to develop into something pretty special over the next 4 years in his coach's view. Top offensive player for this team already. That shot knocked aside by Peters, and he'll get the outlet upfield for James Jennings. Jennings carrying it into the offensive end. Smith's father, DeMaurice Smith, is the head of, or the executive director of the NFL Players Association, and Coach Horsey said it's been really helpful for in terms of working with players to talk to Alex Smith's father, as Smith knocks the ball away that time. Almost came up with it in transition, but DeMatha will keep possession. He says DeMaurice Smith's a guy who works with athletes every day, and he's been enormously helpful in sort of talking to Coach Horsey, who's always been thought of as a coach in the making, even going back to his playing days at Loyola. He graduated in 2001, was a very versatile midfielder for that Greyhounds team back when they were Loyola College, before they expanded to become a university. Was captain on that team, went to the Final Four in 1998, and Greyhounds didn't go back to another Final Four until 2012 when they won the national championship. Whiff on that shot attempt from Skinner, and St. Andrews will have it trying to clear, trailing 12-0 with 7 minutes to go in the second quarter of play. Upfield it goes. That's Will Duvall, senior captain and attackman for the Lions. Shepard turns inside, bounce shot lefty, and he scores, and St. Andrews on the board. Nice work there from Keenan Shepard, the junior. One of the leaders on this first midfield, and he tallies St. Andrews' first goal of the game. We'll take another look. Shepard fakes that shot, comes back to his left, has a step, and finishes down low. Nice effort from him as DeMatha wins the faceoff. So 12-1 now, with 6:35 to go in the second quarter of play. That's Brissolari, who we've seen setting up a lot of goals today, as he has all year long. He and Thompson are the two guys who seem to do most of the feeding, but the impressive thing about this Stags team is that everybody seems to do a little bit of everything. They don't seem to specialize too much. They all seem to be pretty well-rounded guys. They've shown very good stick work so far in this, and as we said before, a very fast team and a very big team. Bunch of gifted guys. DeMatha last year 11-8, and this year with a very veteran team. Most of those players from last year's team returning. They've gotten off to a great start. Feed inside from Terrain, and a bounce shot for Doyle, and he tallies another goal. 13-1. Well, we mentioned Grayson Terrain a bit earlier, but we haven't seen a whole lot of him today. That's the first time he's tallied a point today. He does it on a nice feed inside, but an even better finish from Doyle, who had a defender in front of him and didn't care. Reached behind him, got that shot down low on a hop, and another goal for him. His third of the game. Get your hats out for Doyle. The senior will be playing at Robert Morris next year, and he was a teammate of Grayson Terrain's on that WCAC championship football team in the fall. Those two both played together on that team and had a lot of success, both of good speed, and obviously a good chemistry there as they work together to tally goals. We have a timeout here with DeMatha up 13-1 with 5:57 to go in the first half of play. And Grayson Terrain's a guy who's going to Navy next year, and his head coach Scott Morrison expects him to play pretty quickly. He thinks he's a guy who could make an impact Division I, and it shouldn't take too long. And not really a surprise to see him going to Navy because DeMatha sends a really large number of players from this program to service academies. In fact, this year alone, they're going to send 3 guys to Navy and Army. Grayson Terrain and Nick Ramsey, one of the 2 goalies who sees a lot of time, not playing today, but he's going to Navy. And Johnny Surdick, the starting close defenseman, going to Army next year. And this is a big part of what DeMatha does. Even on their spring trip, they played a couple games out in California, and the team participated in Navy SEAL training, and they've done this ever since 2011 following the death of DeMatha alum and Navy SEAL Brendan Looney, who died in a helicopter crash in Afghanistan, and it's become a big part of the culture here at DeMatha for DeMatha's lacrosse program. And there have been quite a few DeMatha lacrosse players who have gone on to be Navy SEALs. So it's sort of a proud bond there between DeMatha and that elite fraternity of folks in the Navy. And the training, I think, as St. Andrews gets possession is part of the conditioning program, as a shot down low from Shepard is turned aside by Peters. Bend his knees to get down to get that. And here's Terrain showing off his speed, going almost coast to coast. DeMatha still with it, spinning inside the pole. Colin Peacock has the ball knocked free. Maybe not the guy who would be best equipped to take that shot from right in front of the cage, but DeMatha keeps possession. But for these Stags, it's really a chance to also appreciate what the men and women in the Navy SEALs go through, and Coach Morrison saying that they don't really enjoy when they're out in the sand rolling around for 3 or 4 hours, but afterwards they can't stop talking about it. Another shot down low and a goal for Bigelow. That's his third for DeMatha, and it makes it 14-1. And get another look at that coming your way here. DeMatha able to keep possession even after they almost turned it over, and a right-handed shot from Michael Bigelow. Off the assist from Terrain, who's assisted back-to-back goals. 14-1 with 5:10 to go in the first half. And DeMatha in control. Looked for a moment like Ethan Wallach would come up with that face-off. Couldn't get it initially, but it's ground ball scooped up there by his teammate, Aiden Wallace. And there'll be a chance on attack here for St. Andrews. Those chances have been limited so far in the first half. Obviously, this is a game that's very difficult for them, but I think it's part of a learning experience as Coach Horsey looks at it. Although that shot on the run from 15 yards out, maybe not the look he wanted there. And now a chance for DeMatha pushing it the other way. Stein takes it behind. He's been instrumental in DeMatha's attack so far today. He's been passing, setting up goals. He's been scoring them as well. As Skinner jogs on. Gets out there as part of that second midfield unit. Chris Myers and Dylan Stein out there as well. Battle for that near the end line, and I believe that's Hussam Shabazz who almost had it for the Lions and then had it taken away from under his stick, and sensing a troubled possession, Coach Morrison will burn a timeout after his team gets it in the box with 3:59 to go in the second quarter of play. We mentioned our sponsor, Trilogy Lacrosse, earlier on in the first half. Told you we'd tell you a little bit more about them. And we'll do that now. Trilogy, the leader in lacrosse education, providing instruction, competition, and exposure to players across the country. Are you interested in playing lacrosse in college? Then you can join Trilogy this summer at one of their invitation-only ACES events for best possible exposure and competition. Trilogy's ACES events provide players with the tools, knowledge, and opportunities they need to be seen by top NCAA lacrosse coaches, with specific events for middle school players, 2017 graduates, and high-achieving student athletes. Trilogy has an ACES event for every elite player. All ACES events are invitation only and are nearing capacity, so players who wish to be invited can fill out an application on trilogylacrosse.com. Visit trilogylacrosse.com/aces to learn more and apply today. It's 14-1. DeMatha on top of St. Andrews with 3 minutes and 59 seconds to go in the first half. This is our first of two games today from Georgetown University. The Epoch Lacrosse Spring Classic on the Hill 2014, presented by LacrossePlayground.com. DeMatha with possession here on the right side of your screen. Looking to notch win number 12 and their first 12 of the season. It's been a great start for the Stags. Team that dominated the WCAC from 1999 to 2009, winning 10 of 11 titles, has not won since that 2009 season. Gonzaga has been very good, obviously, and captured the last 4. But this could be the year. A lot of Division I talent on this squad. Trouble maintaining possession there. Poked beyond the top of the box by Andrew Bubis, but possession still with the Stags. That's Myers from behind. Gets it to Stein. Tried that shot. Didn't come out cleanly. It's Bigelow. Given some space. Plays catch with Brannon. Stein for the wing. That one bounces right back to the stick of Chris Myers, who's behind the cage. DeMatha rotating the ball, taking good care of it so far. Stein again, timer on, bounces that shot, missed wide. Shot not on cage, so still 30 seconds to get one on cage. And a jump shot not only gets on cage, but is the 15th goal of the game for DeMatha. Chris Myers letting that one fly with 2:18 to go in the second quarter. Nice shot there. Knew situation with the stall, knew he needed to get rid of it. Lowered his shoulder, turned the corner, and let a nice shot fly to put DeMatha up 15-1. Liam Howe and Aiden Wallace on the wings here for St. Andrews. On this face-off with 2:16 to go in the second. Different look for DeMatha. They send James Jennings the pole to take that face-off, and he does a nice job coming away with it. Remember, that was a big part of their comeback win against Bullis, was getting him involved in the face-off game, getting possessions back for the Stags in that second half, allowed them to overcome a 4-0 deficit in that game, go on to win 8-6, and really their toughest challenge so far this year in what has been a perfect season. And a timeout taken by DeMatha head coach Scott Morrison with 1:51 to go in the second quarter, and his team up 15-1. Morrison, a graduate of UMBC in 1989. As mentioned last year, an 11-8 record for this team, and a much more experienced group this year, ready to go. They didn't graduate many seniors. They returned 13 seniors this year. They had 7 returning starters. And a hard-working group that has really been on from the start of the season. And they've done what he has asked them to do. And Coach Morrison didn't want to take any credit for how fast his team had played this year. He said, I'd love to take credit for it, but they're just naturally fast. They've got a bunch of guys who can really run, and emphasizing conditioning was a big part of that, of course, but Grayson Terrain, Gavin Labatt, some of those guys, they can just run, period, he said, and certainly he's been able to utilize them effectively and create a really powerful team here. You've got a midfielder in Grayson Terrain we barely heard from today because he hasn't been out there that much, given the comfortable lead, but he's well over 25 points already this year. He shoots very, very well for a midfielder, right around 46% on his shots as of this Wednesday, the last day we had stats available for DeMatha. And, again, he hasn't really even been heard from today. You've got Dylan Stein, who's seeing time, Michael Bigelow, and some of those guys shows you their depth. This is a team that's handling their opponent today as they have really all season long. Not a lot of competitive games that they've had to play this year, and this one has gotten off to a very good start for them. Have possession here with 1:35 to go in the first half. That's Bigelow, who's got a size advantage, draws a double, goes back up top for Howell. Bang it around for Stein. And he'll go behind for Myers. Myers trying to turn the corner, just drawing the defense out. Trying not to get too extended here. You can see it looks like a zone approach here for St. Andrews defensively. But it's been tough because, let's face it, I mean, DeMatha has shown they can shoot from 15 yards out and score anyway, so they've been pretty tough to defend no matter how you play them. But certainly with their size and their dodging ability, it's going to be hard to get right on him. That's Shabazz getting up on Howell. Myers with Shabazz mirroring him as they go to the left side, and Brannon. Brannon inside, nice spin. Stein tries a shot down low, just snuck it by Herdishi. And another goal for Stein, who's having himself quite a day. 16-1. 35 seconds to go in the first half of play. Let's take a look at Dylan Stein. They're basically getting that ball goal line extended, and he sort of does an inside roll, finishes with a bounce shot. 16-1. Another face-off here, and again it will be James Jennings, the junior, then Pohl, who controls that one for the Stags. Jennings lowering his shoulder into Keenan Shepard that time before giving up control. That's Nehemiah Davis getting a look at him, number 14, just had possession. First time I believe we've seen him on the field with the midfield. So Chance to get a bunch of guys some action. Here is the clock hit 0 in the first half of play without DeMatha firing a shot. But a very strong first 2 quarters for the Stags. They lead this one 16-1. And certainly they've had a number of contributors. Bigelow has notched 3 goals. Doyle has notched 3 goals. And Stein, who scored the first and last goals of the half, sandwiched one in with 34 seconds to go in the first quarter as well. So he has a hat trick as well. So really strong start. 16-1 advantage for DeMatha over St. Andrews Episcopal. Their only goal scored by Keenan Shepard. And that one came in the second quarter with about 6:50 to go in that frame. So we'll be back in about 9 minutes or so with the second half here from Georgetown University. And, of course, a reminder that after this game is completed, there will be about a 30 to 40-minute break, and then we'll get a look at our second game here in the Epoch Lacrosse Spring Classic on the Hill. And that'll feature Flint Hill and St. Stephen's and St. Agnes. So we hope you can join us for that one as well. We'll be back in about 8.5 minutes with the start of the second half. It's 16-1 DeMatha on top of St. Andrews.
At the Academic Aces, what we're trying to do is narrow the recruiting field to reward the players and coaches that strive for a high academic excellence. The players have worked incredibly hard to get the right grades, GPA, SAT scores, etc. And for coaches that spend the bulk of their summers looking at players that they have no idea whether they can recruit, we want to make sure that our event ensures that both parties are a compatible match.
I'm Drew Bizik from Hamilton College, down here at the Academic Aces tournament. The weather's been great, and the play's been outstanding so far.
Here at Trilogy Academic Aces, and it's going really well. Lots of talent here, and lots of smart kids.
You know, there's tons of talent here from a coach's perspective, which is great. Kids that are, qualified academically as well as, talent on the field.
Academic Aces is going smooth so far. A lot of good players. Excited to see what the rest of the week holds out.
I've been really, really impressed with Academic Aces. It's been a ton of fun. I've been pushed to my limits. All the coaches are amazing, and the level of competition is really high.
It's a tough challenge these days to find the right opportunities for your kid. There's so many choices among camps, and this has been a really great opportunity for him to meet and learn about the recruiting process.
And we welcome you back to Georgetown University as we get set for the second half of the first game of our lacrosse doubleheader today. It is the Epoch Lacrosse Spring Classic on the Hill 2014, presented by LaxPlayground.com. It's 16-1. DeMatha leads St. Andrews, but the Lions win the draw here to start our third quarter of play. And so they'll be going left to right, and Alex Smith, the freshman, will feed it on behind. DeMatha getting hat tricks from a number of players in the first half. 3 from Sean Doyle, and they got 3 from Michael Bigelow as well. This is going to be a learning second half, I'm sure, for St. Andrews. One thing they've just got to do better is try to keep possession a little bit, run the clock, and get better looks. They've taken the few possessions they've had, they've turned it over, such as that last try there where the ball just fell out of the stick in one of their attackmen, but they get it back as cutting in front to pick that ball off is Will Duvall. A bit of a transition opportunity here, but nice job by DeMatha's pole Derek Graham to get out there and slow down the opportunity. Smith tries to get inside and does. Lefty shot up top and he scores. Alex Smith, the freshman, one of the top offensive players already for Bobby Horsey's Lions, scores the second goal of the game for St. Andrews in the first of the second half. That's some nice footwork and stick skills there from Smith. They get it back on the hustle play from the senior Duvall. Gets around the defender, switches to his left, is offhand, and really nice shot up top that time, and he finishes. Should note that there is a new goalie in for DeMatha, and it's number 31, Christian Golzinski. So he's taken over for Brad Peters, who started this game. As that possession loose and won by St. Andrews Episcopal. That's Ethan Wallach who came away with the ground ball. DeMatha gets it back. Zach Taylor taking it down the sideline on the near side. 10 minutes to go, third quarter, and it's 16-2. Stags on top. And certainly an impressive start. Going to see some new faces, I would think, for Scott Morrison's squad here in the second half. There's Nehemiah Davis had it for a moment there, and he saw some time right at the end of the first half of play, and probably we'll see some more here in the second. Despite dropping it, Dylan Stein has been all over the field today for DeMatha, gets the ball back, so they'll keep possession. Evan Skinner, second midfield and face-off guy, has it, and to the near side for Bigelow. Behind now, it's Chris Myers, also saw some time in the first half. Did a lot of the quarterbacking behind the cage with this sort of second unit out there. And now we see St. Andrews getting a little bit more aggressive defensively. They were bunched up in zone at the end of the first half, but now back in man-to-man and trying to play a little bit closer to the DeMatha players. And again, most of these guys part of a second unit here. And perhaps a chance now for Coach Horsey's guys to build up some confidence and play against guys who are a little bit more prone to turning the ball over. Maybe don't dodge quite as quickly. Skinner tries to get that one inside and got it to Kaler, but nice job by St. Andrews to apply some pressure. Kaler somehow keeps possession off the ground, lost it again, has it knocked out of his stick a third time. The ball's loose at the floor, right at the foot of one of the St. Andrews players. I believe that was Aiden Wallace, who didn't know much about it, but fortunately one of his teammates able to scoop it up. And then Herdeshy throws it in the middle of nowhere. Middle of the field now, and a scrum breaking out. Shabazz trying to come up with the ground ball. Instead, it's won away by Dale Matthews, also seeing some time here in the second half for DeMatha. And Matthews gets it back for Golzinski, who lobs it up to the middle of the field. And Zach Brannon, who will take it towards the offensive end. Brannon trailed by Shabazz, one of those top defensemen for Bobby Horsey's squad. He's a junior looking to play in college. Coach Horsey thought he should have no problem playing in Division III. An athletic guy. He's only 5'7", but a really tough defender. Guy who hustles, plays aggressively. Check that. That's Skinner, trapped on the sideline, but able to keep possession using his size, shielding the ball from defenders with his body, and able to keep possession for the Stags. 7:20 to go in the third quarter. DeMatha up 16-2. Trying to keep that ball along the end line, but can't do it. Stein had it knocked away. Good defensive effort there from St. Andrews. That was Will Hughes out there, the sophomore long stick midfielder and defender who forced that turnover and got another possession for St. Andrews. Near side, we've got Keenan Shepard, who's one of the 2 goals today. He's got it off the feed from Smith, who scored the other goal for St. Andrews. Being tracked here by Mac Meehan. It's Derek Graham defending on the far side. Couple poles there, sandwiching a smaller attackman for St. Andrews, and that pass errant, but it is scooped up behind the cage. That's a tough challenge there as St. Andrews trying to take on a couple defenders. Looked like that was number 39, Brian Huber, the lefty attackman, who tried to just lower his shoulder into 2 taller defenders and didn't come away the better for it as he hit the turf and turned it over. It's a tough matchup just given the sheer size here and the numbers, too. I mean, these are fresh players for DeMatha and a much smaller roster for St. Andrews. They're going to be out there pretty much the whole game. So they're really battling, though. You got to give a guy like Smith credit, who's out there trying to force a turnover at the midfield on the ride and did it momentarily before it was scooped back up by DeMatha's Evan Skinner, who's done a nice job winning ground balls today, as you would hope a face-off specialist could, and he's done a nice job tracking both face-offs and loose ground balls. Done his job well today. And he's going to be a vital part of DeMatha's season later on in the year. If they can control possessions come tournament time, they're going to be awfully difficult to beat with the experience they have both at attack, midfield, and, of course, on the defensive side. We didn't get a chance to talk too much about the defensive starters because they didn't have to play all that much in the first half, and now they're mostly out. As going to get a whistle on DeMatha, and they're going to send off, or they're going to whistle Ricky Kaler for a second violation today. And ball goes back to St. Andrews, who, again, is having a lot of trouble clearing the ball. But between Johnny Surdick and Bane Schroeder, and then you've got Colin Kasner and James Jennings, a very good defensive unit, of course, for DeMatha. Sean Hess tried to get that shot off, but it was knocked down before it could reach the cage, and Golzinski didn't have to make the play to save that one, didn't reach him in the cage. Golzinski, I guess, would be the 3rd goalie on the depth chart. We didn't see Nick Ramsey, who plays a little more than Brad Peters in goal, but both those starters are going to get a lot of time. Ramsey had 64 saves coming into the week. Peters had 20. They're handled the sort of goalie, splitting the starting time at goalie pretty well, according to Coach Scott Morrison, says they're very good friends, and, both guys are playing in college next year, so it's really worked out for both of them. Peters going to Brown, Ramsey going to the Naval Academy with teammate and midfielder Grayson Terrain. You got a whole load of guys playing Division I lacrosse next year and in the coming years out of a DeMatha program that's produced well over 150 players in its history who have gone on to play in the NCAA. Yeah, Grayson Terrain back out there now with the first midfield unit. Brady Thompson there as well. Sean Doyle, that's your normal first midfield grouping. It's Terrain over to Doyle. You see now with just his speed, the fact that St. Andrews is trying to give a little bit more space. But it's a tall order against a team that can shoot and dodge well. But no look so far. Thompson and his Stags taking some time. They go behind now. That's Chris Myers. Dylan Steiner had a big first half. Only 1 goal so far here in the second half, and it's belonged to St. Andrews after being outscored 16-1 in the first half of play, but they've held their own so far in the second half, and there are some starters now out there for DeMatha. Thompson can't handle that pass, would have had time and room, gets knocked to the turf. Ground ball picked up momentarily by St. Andrews, but then just falls right out of the stick of, I believe that was number 26, Aiden Wallace. Again, doing my best to identify those guys for the Lions for you. Just a little bit of a tough time given the all-black jerseys and the limited red trim around the numbers, but bear with me and I'll try to get them to you. Terrain over to Brady Thompson, another senior. Thompson playing at Lehigh next year. Got off to a good start in this first half, and Errant pass that time from Myers is going to trickle away. In pursuit is Michael Bigelow towards the sideline, kicks it back towards Thompson, who scoops it up and takes it towards the offensive end. So far, so good, though, for St. Andrews as Terrain tries to use his dodging ability, but ends up backing it out after a switch. Defended there by Alex Smith. You know, one guy we haven't seen defending, I don't think he's available today for St. Andrews, but he normally plays quite a bit, and that is George Morrison. Jace Buchek in there defending that time. He's one of the leading defenders for the Lions, and he's a guy who will probably play. He's only a junior this year, but will probably play in college. He's had interest from Stevenson and Mount St. Mary's, places like that. Division III schools in this part of the Mid-Atlantic. Buchek, a strong athlete, good student, transfers from Einstein High School, playing for Coach Horsey this year. But George Morrison, who is not out there today, normally you wouldn't need I don't think he's even with the team today. He wears number 40 and he's 6'8", so easy to identify him. He's the son of former NBA player George Morrison, who was 7'7", played for the Washington Bullets and New Jersey Nets back in the 90s and early 2000s. One of the tallest NBA players ever. His son is only in his second year playing lacrosse, but again, not with the team this year. Normally a starter, or this game, I should say. Normally a starter on close defense. Very patient possession here for DeMatha. Thompson tries to thread one inside, knocked out of the stick of Doyle. Still loose, and Smith comes away with it. Hey, he is really an all-effort guy, doing almost it all himself. In transition, gets the pass to his left and a rifle shot down low. Nice save from Golzinski. That was number 2, Sean Hess letting it go off the feed from Smith. They set that one up well, and it looked like it might overpower Golzinski, who was backing up towards that goal line, but was able to make the save. Terrain in transition tries a bounce shot, skips over the cage. Myers there to retrieve it behind. Ball loose, kick towards the sideline as time runs out in the third quarter. So how about that? After a goal-filled first half, we see only one score here in the third period, and it belonged to St. Andrews. And credit to them, they were going up against the number 1 midfield at times for DeMatha. Obviously, they weren't being as aggressive with their comfortable lead. They were looking to maintain possession, but still, they held their own. Nice effort there in the third quarter of play from Bobby Horsey's squad, and that's really what he wants to see. He knows he's scheduling a very difficult opponent today, but it's a chance to get a number of these younger players on a college field playing against top-flight competition from the region and really start to develop this group. And Coach Horsey said, you know, this is still a work in progress for us, and you know, stuff like this, playing the school's first night game last week. The program had never played a night game before they took on St. Mary's Riken a week from yesterday. And he said things like that really build excitement around the program. The spring trip to Florida is another opportunity to do that. And the more you can do things like that, the easier it is to recruit guys to come play for you or convince talented athletes at your school already to take up the sport of lacrosse. And he's excited about where he can take this program. And certainly a much better third quarter there as they end up actually outscoring DeMatha 1-0 in the frame and got another good shot towards the end that looked like it had a chance to score, but Golzinski was able to handle it as he was backing up right towards that goal line, but he was able to make the play. By the way, one note on George Morrison. I remember watching him play. Hard to forget, 7'7", but I feel so old because both the Washington Bullets, who are no longer called the Bullets, and the New Jersey Nets, who are no longer called the New Jersey Nets, don't exist in the same name anymore. You got, you know, the Washington Wizards and the Brooklyn Nets now, so it kind of dates all of us a little bit. As DeMatha has possession to start the fourth, and it's 16-2. They're on top of the St. Andrews Episcopal Lions as we play our first of 2 doubleheader today from Georgetown University's multi-sport field. Really nice day. I got about as nice a day as you can find in the middle of what has been a sometimes trying winter and early part of spring. Getting beautiful weather today for lacrosse. So some of those early February games, you see those college teams playing, you just don't want to be out there. You'd rather stay at home and watch. And today's a nice day to be at a game or to be participating in a game if you're one of these two teams. Or one of the two teams we've got next, St. Stephen's and St. Agnes taking on Flint Hill in a matchup, a repeat matchup from the playoffs last year. So that's certainly one to keep an eye on. Two very good programs. St. Stephen's, St. Agnes having a really strong year so far, and always a very strong team. And Flint Hill rebuilding a bit, but also a good group. Mitchell Howell had it behind, lost possession. That's rolling right towards midfield, and here's a chance in transition again for St. Andrews. See what they can do with that. That's Keenan Shepard racing in, and Golzinski able to handle it. 10:30 to go in the fourth. Transition now back the other way on an outlet pass of sorts to Howell, but with the comfortable lead, DeMatha pulling back, and will set up an offense 6-on-6. Zach Brannon with it now. Nice little poke check there from Jace Buchek, and he comes up with a ground ball. Another cause turnover from Buchek. You can just see the confidence building a little bit for St. Andrews here, and this is a useful thing for them. The clearing has still been an issue, even here in the second half where they played much better, and that time it was Hussam Shabazz having a little bit of trouble keeping it in his stick, but able to get it to the middle of the field for Tristan Chen, one of the midfielders and face-off specialists for St. Andrews, and get the ball on the offensive end. So nicely done there for a team that showed a lot of improvement here in the second half. I mean, it doesn't really matter who they're playing against. They've got to focus on executing, and they've been executing much better. And as I said, in the third quarter, they saw some time against the starting unit for DeMatha. That was Lokshin around the corner, losing possession. Ethan Lokshin, senior and attackman, not playing in college, going to Clemson next year, I'm told, though. Should not playing in college, but should play a little bit of club lacrosse if he's interested in continuing to pursue it. Coach Horsey says. Tall guy, about 6'1". He's normally their crease attackman, but they've been sort of running him all over today. On the offensive end, DeMatha with it again. Myers, hounded by Buchek. And DeMatha forced to pull it back up top. And here's Brady Thompson, again, part of that first midfield unit. Out here in the fourth now with the Stags 0 for the second half in terms of scoring after they put up 16 in the first. And I'm sure Coach Morrison at least wants to get these starters to feel a little bit better about the ending of this game before he maybe removes them. That pass goes inside and not a lot of mustard on it. Terrain had the ball checked out of his stick, and it rolls into the crease. Not a great feed that time. That was, I believe, Sean Doyle trying to get it in there. Didn't have a great look and didn't put much velocity on the pass, and Terrain kind of hung out to dry there. Had it easily checked out of his stick. But again, more trouble clearing here. That pass sailing way too high from Will Hughes, and a turnover. DeMatha will get possession back. We got 72 degrees, I'm told, today, and it looks every bit of it. Only just a few wispy clouds in the sky. This is a 3 miles an hour wind. Can't beat this. This is terrific. On a beautiful day for lacrosse on the high school side, and of course, big day in college, too. Maybe during that second game, we'll try to get you some of the NCAA scores from around the country. I know Johns Hopkins in Maryland playing Blue Jays homecoming up at Homewood Field today. So that's one of several good matchups on tap in the NCAA today. We've got about 7 minutes and 20 seconds to go in the fourth quarter of this one, and it's 16-2, DeMatha on top of St. Andrews. DeMatha in white attacking the cage right now. That's Terrain with it. Far side wing. Couple guys behind right now for Coach Morrison's squad. He's got Brannon there. Also got Myers up top for Thompson and off his stick. This has not been the crispest second half, to say the least, for DeMatha. And again, some pressure being applied here. Hughes with a nice effort. Trail check nearly knocked that pass out of the line of fire to Chris Myers, but he was able to retrieve it, moving to his left. Here's Thompson inside, and he shoots down low and scores. So an off-balance shot fading away from about 12 yards, and Brady Thompson able to finish that, and that's the first goal of the second half for DeMatha to put him up 17-2. You can see, though, even in the reaction from DeMatha, that they're not particularly satisfied with the way they've played. They just scored a goal, and they're up by 15. But it was almost... it was almost a reluctant celebration, and even now as you see Thompson and Terrain and some of the veteran guys on this team head to the sideline, you can tell they're not happy with what they produced in the second half. Despite the comfortable lead, despite the fast start, they were hoping to play a little bit better, and it's almost a reluctant celebration. We've got a running clock here with the 15-goal lead in the second half, so something to keep an eye on, of course, with 5:40 to go in the fourth. That's something that will certainly speed this second half up and has sped this second half up. Ethan Lockshin with it now. He's going to hop a pass back towards the midfield line for Tristan Chen. Chen sidearms one to Lockshin, across the field. Down the right side, it's Keenan Shepard. Down low, Golzinski. I think got that one with his knee. Able to pinch those knees together and block the shot. Yeah, trying to bounce that one 5-hole, and Golzinski having none of it. Second save he's made. Both of them on shots down low. He was beaten earlier in the second half by Alex Smith. That pass gets upfield despite a strong check. McMeehan ends up getting it after his teammate Nehemiah Davis was knocked to the ground. But Davis pops right back up and heads into the box on the offensive end, where his teammate McMeehan flips it over to him. Really say that about for St. Andrews. There's no quitting these guys. They're battling to the last whistle. Tristan Chen getting in there. Nice hit that time from Bubis, although he hit him up high, showing the effort, but he's going to draw a flag. And Bubis has taken a few aggressive cross checks today, and that one draws a man-up chance now for DeMatha with 4:26 to go in the fourth quarter. Haven't had a lot of flags. I believe this is only the second man-up opportunity of the game and the first for DeMatha. St. Andrews had one in the first half and did not score. Yeah. Vivas, the left-handed defender, senior captain that time, and a timeout taken by Coach Horsey. And I think that's probably a good idea, just given the situation here. His team playing well. Just, you want to get them through the last 4:30, playing aggressively but also playing intelligently, and that last hit was an aggressive play, but certainly one that I think Bubis wish he could have back, going up a little bit too high. See Trilogy Lacrosse on your screen right there, and we're grateful to have them as one of the sponsors for the two broadcasts we have this afternoon. And they are the leader in lacrosse education, providing instruction, competition, and exposure to players across the country. If you're interested in playing college lacrosse, you should join Trilogy this summer at one of their invitation-only ACES events for the best possible exposure and competition. Trilogy's ACES events provide players with the tools, knowledge, and opportunities they need to be seen by top NCAA lacrosse coaches, with specific events for middle school players, 2017 graduates, and high-achieving student athletes. Trilogy has an ACES event for every elite player. All ACES events are invitation only, and they are nearing capacity, so players who wish to be invited should fill out an application on trilogylacrosse.com. Visit trilogylacrosse.com/ACES to learn more and apply today. Got about 200 folks in attendance so far for the first game today. And reminder of St. Stephen's and St. Agnes, Flint Hill, coming up about 30 minutes or so after the conclusion of this one. We'll let you know more precise time if we get it. So there's actually going to be a couple men up here. We got 2 fouls on that last possession. Sean Hess has been sat down next to Andrew Bubis in the penalty area. Both are minute-long infractions, so 2 men up here for DeMatha, but nonetheless, nice save made that time by Herdishi, turning back the shot from Myers, and now a chance to run out some of this 2-man down situation in the next 30 seconds. I think you got to be smart here if you're St. Andrews. Don't want to rush anything. You want to get back at even strength, and they're doing that here. Just trying to keep possession, and they cleared the ball too, which could be a challenge 4 on 6, as Smith is going to get a lot of attention here as they'll try to force a turnover, and makes perfect sense to do that if you're DeMatha here. 10 seconds to go. 2-man down for St. Andrews. And Smith eludes both guys trying to get on him and takes it behind the cage as the penalties elapse. So, again, another nice, fundamentally sound effort there for St. Andrews. First the save from Herdishi, then the clear, and then Smith and company running out the remainder of the penalties. So, again, it's tough to take too many positives from a game where you struggle as much as St. Andrews did in the first half, and there's still plenty of things to work on. Obviously, clearing, I think, is one major issue, but the second half has got to be very encouraging, I think, for some of these guys, as getting under a stick check that time was Liam Howe. He tried a bounce shot, but another nice save from Golzinski, who showed he can go down low pretty well here in the second half, where he's been in the cage the whole time between the pipes after Brad Peters took the first half for Scott Morrison, who rested senior Nick Ramsey today throughout the game. A lot of games and not a lot of time for these teams this time of year, getting into playing the conference games and the out-of-conference games, and any chance you get to rest some of these guys if you think they can stay sharp is going to be welcome, especially if they're a little nicked up, which obviously everybody's got some guys like that this time of year. Chris Myers using one of the officials as a pick to circle around. And that pass glances right off the stick of Brannon, who didn't even bother trying to retrieve it. And possession right back to St. Andrews. 2 minutes to go in the fourth. DeMatha up 17-2, and another failed clear. That ball's loose, picked up by Myers. He races in, tries a shot, trail check, knock that ball loose. It'll roll behind. And another nice effort play there from St. Andrews. Aiden Hedersey getting a little bit of help there from his defender, Jace Buchek, has really shown up in the second half. Didn't have a chance to call his name too much in the first half, but he's been playing hard and playing smart and doing a nice job on close defense in the final 24 minutes of this game or so. Got a minute 30 remaining in the fourth, 17-2. DeMatha putting on the finishing touches of what will be their 12th win of the season. It's Mac Meehan. Bigelow, and again, these are shots Bigelow was taking in the first half, obviously here in this spot with a minute left and a comfortable lead, just running the clock. DeMatha did show they could stretch a defense. I mean, they shot from 15 out or so a couple times. That shot from 5 and a tough angle, not working out for Meehan, and the rebound tried wouldn't go for Nehemiah Davis, but he does track down the ground ball. Minute to go here in the fourth. Both these teams really have been competing the whole way, and that's something you like to see, I think, if you're either coach. No complacency and certainly a chance to learn on the other side for St. Andrews and seem to have capitalized on it a bit. That's Meehan trying to bowl through a defender, tries a shot, misses wide. Quick backup, and the pass to the middle from Brannon rolls by everybody towards the midline. We've got 25 seconds to go in the fourth. That ball kicked towards the offensive end for St. Andrews, still loose, and now we get a whistle from one of the officials and a loose ball push called on the Lions. 16 seconds to go, and I imagine DeMatha will run out the clock here. But we'll see. 10 seconds. Now they try to cross-field pass, and they throw it away. Rolls right out of bounds in front of the DeMatha bench. 5 seconds to go, and that will do it with the running clock. We've got 4 seconds, which will restart when ball's picked up by Buchek, and that will do it. So your final score here, 17-2. DeMatha with another comfortable win. They're now 12-0 in the season. St. Andrews Episcopal falls to 3-5 with the defeat today. But the story within the story to me is the second half, in which, after being outscored 16-1 in the first 2 quarters, we saw a nice recovery from St. Andrews, and both teams scored 1 goal in the second half of play. One in I think both in the third, and it was, pretty even effort in that half of play, and it wasn't all reserves for DeMatha the whole time. So some growth for St. Andrews and another nice win for a DeMatha team that has yet to taste defeat this season. They are now 12-0 as they win this one by a final of 17-2. We thank you for tuning in to our Lax broadcast today from the tournament here in Georgetown, the 2014 Epoch Lacrosse Spring Classic on the Hill, presented by lacrosseplayground.com. And certainly we're glad you could join our Prodigy Launch broadcast for today's opening game. And we'll bring you a second game coming up following this one. Our clock says 64 minutes, but I don't know if it will be that long. But hopefully you'll be able to join us. Our scheduled start time for that game was initially 1:30, so we'll see if we bump that up or not. But it will be St. Stephen's and St. Agnes taking on Flint Hills. Thanks again for joining us for for this game today. Final score, DeMatha with a 17-2 victory over St. Andrews Episcopal. This is Stu Johnson signing off from Georgetown University. Thanks for watching this production of Prodigy Launch.